In the not-too-distant future, a revolution is brewing, one that will change the very fabric of our existence. It's a tale of cells that hold the key to unlocking the mysteries of life itself. Let us venture into the unknown, for in this age of stem cells, anything is possible.
I've seen some beautiful...
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It is.
It is.
It is.
Hi, Sherry Diers.
How are you?
I can't believe it's almost the end of 2024.
I know. I can't either. 2025.
Ho, ho, ho.
Oh, I love your shirt. Where did it come from? I love it.
It's our,
Ho, ho, ho.
we should totally make a business out of making t-shirts because we're really good at it.
Can we sell those? I would buy one. I love it. I would absolutely buy one.
Well, everyone's getting one.
Oh, yay. I love it. Are we going to go somewhere and wear it?
No, because apparently our Christmas party, Julie would like us to dress up.
It's at Perry's Steakhouse.
Yes.
You have to dress up.
Oh, okay. So we have to dress up. So she's telling me that I can't wear this.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, you know how you could wear it. You know those scarves like Julie has? The very fancy, beautiful. You can wear it with that. Wouldn't that be beautiful? Ho, ho, ho. We can all wear beautiful pants.
And this shirt.
And that shirt.
Okay.
I love it.
Well, so last month we filmed, we were getting into the legal issues of stem cells. Oh. And I thought, well, we could continue that conversation, but I thought maybe since it's the end of the year, we take a break and then resume that at the first part of the year and get, into all the details of regulation and all that stuff. But the other day I was driving around and the Hope Mobile is a Tesla Model Y.
I know. I love it.
And I'm becoming stupid when it comes to driving because this car...
It does everything.
The car is literally taking me from point A to point B now. And I'm not thinking of... what's amazing to me is not just the physical... what's physically required to drive, but even your brain and the thinking that you do that goes into driving. Because what I realize is it's actually exhausting to drive mentally because you're thinking about everything, like don't hit that thing in front of you, right? And so the car is doing all that thinking for you too. So it actually frees up my time to think. And I had this aha moment when I was looking at the cars sort of next to me when they're driving around and they're having to drive themselves. Uh-huh. And, for a long time, I was one of them, I would think, Teslas are just electric cars. But now you realize that it's actually, you don't even think about the electric component. I mean, that's a cool component that you don't have to go to a gas station. But the really amazing thing about the car now is it has a brain of itself for itself. I mean, it can do the driving, and now I would say it drives better than a human can. And I'm saying all this because when you put it into perspective, the technology exists and is very much present for those that have it and those that live in it. But what's so odd is that you could be in a car next to you that does not have such technology, and they have no idea that this world even exists. Yeah. I remember the other day, Taylor got to come in with me, and we were going somewhere, and I told him, take a drive, just put the FSD on and let's go. And I remember as soon as he was done, he got on a call with his dad. I think the first thing he did was call his dad and say, "You're not going to believe this, but I got into this car and this car drove me from point A to point B." And I literally didn't have to touch the steering wheel. And his dad was like, for real? And they're talking as if like this is a totally foreign concept. And so why I talk about this is because I feel like that's the age that we're living in right now in the stem cell era. Like you and I see these things every day, and we see all the people coming in here, getting cells and all the wonderful stories. And the world we live in today is a world where this technology exists, but because people don't know about it, you know, they think it's a far off, like sort of foreign concept. But you know.
And so how do we bring it in to make it normal for everyone?
Well, these sorts of discussions will give a little window into what we do, and hopefully will allow people to sort of catch on to the idea that this is no longer an idea, but that it's actually being implemented.
It exists.
And we'll see it mainstream in a jiffy. But again, the whole point of this was to tell the story as we're playing it out. So I thought it'd be fun today to go through my phone, and we have a wonderful social media. So if you don't follow it, you should. But Taylor does a great job. We have people that are documenting what's happening within our four walls all the time. And so do I, but nobody gets to see the pictures that I take. So see Hope through Donna's eyes.
I love it.
And I thought maybe I'll just show a few pictures from my phone that highlight this year and kind of the major things that we've done this year, at least from my perspective.
I love that.
And then share that. So
I can't
without
wait.
further
I'm so glad
ado,
I get to be here.
so I sent you the photos, Sherry.
I haven't looked at anything.
I sent you the photos in order. Okay.
Okay.
So you got to go to your first text to see photo number 1.
This is in your office, and it's taken from behind your desk.
This
is
clearly
a mess.
This is clearly my office. It's not a mess. That is my usual desk. I swear my desk will one day be an ad for, all the people whose stuff is on my desk. But there's a balloon and it says 8. And I love it because it was the 8th anniversary for Hope Bio this year. So April 4th, we started April Fools.
Isn't that perfect? I love
it's a perfect day to start. April Fools 2016 is when Hope Bio was born. And it's been an incredible 8 years. Things that haven't changed. My desk has not changed. In
it's changed position.
But it's the same craziness. I just don't find a time to, find a moment to clean it up. But that was just from my desk that day.
Do you remember that day that Julie and I took pictures of your desk? And then we had the picture of Albert Einstein's desk.
I think the reason why she took it was, yes, he was a mess, but...
And they were very similar.
No, thank you. Yes.
I said, our boss is a genius. Look, this is proof. Wow, 8 years. Yeah, I remember the birthday. Isn't that wonderful?
We have two things in common then, because Albert Einstein... for some reason, I heard that he was a terrible driver. I have no idea if this is historically or factually correct, but I think I failed my driver's exam like 4 times. And I remember my mom getting really upset at me. Like, what is wrong with you? Of course, as Asian parents, you have to be super achieving in all things. But I could not pass a driver's test for the life of me. And I remember, telling her, like, Albert Einstein couldn't drive. But I have no idea if that's true or not. I'm probably making that up.
I'm going to have to do some research. I love it.
All right. Next moment was a Hope wall extension.
Yes.
So,
look at Michelle up there.
Actually, what I found so funny, the reason why I took that picture was like, how many Hope employees does it take to put up a piece of vinyl.
Well, 6 for sure, because you took a picture and there's 5 of us there.
But really the meaning is, of course, our hope wall. We have a wall here on the foundation, and it was just, on the other side, when we built the space out, we obviously couldn't afford a whiteboard. It's so funny because people come in here and say, "Oh, that looks so cool." But it's really, we couldn't afford a whiteboard, a large whiteboard. And so we bought some black vinyl from Amazon and we stuck it on, this adhesive vinyl. And I swear when Nadir put up the vinyl on the Hope side, those air bubbles that he could not get rid of are still there to this day. But it still works well. It's a giant blackboard that we use. But on the foundation side, we mimic the same thing. We put the vinyl up on the foundation side and allowed patients to come in and just write messages to us. And every time we come into the office, we have to walk by that wall. And it's a constant reminder of words of encouragement, for us. So we had to extend that wall because there's no room to write on it.
I love that. The Hope wall was so full, it had to be extended.
Yes, it had to be, because there's no more room left for any messages. So now it's extended and has plenty of room for future messages, lots of them.
It's so full of beautiful messages.
Yeah.
I love them.
So the next moment I found is two pictures actually back to back. The first is this is all related to traumatic brain injury.
TBI.
Such a big year for traumatic brain injury for Hope Bio. We welcomed the team from UT Health Houston. I always have to remember to say the Houston part because I get in trouble for not saying that. But UT Health Houston is the medical center here, is the UT Health here at the Med Center. And their team came over to initiate our second trial for traumatic brain injury. This is the Department of Defense funded TBI-02 trial. So based off the first trial that we did for traumatic brain injury, they decided to fund a second larger trial, a placebo-controlled trial. And so the team from UT Health came over to Hope Bio for training and to discuss the details of the protocol, but that's sort of the process in the making. And then the second picture was actually the trip to San Antonio. So the traumatic brain injury 02 trial is a 2-site trial. The first site being in Houston and the second site being in San Antonio. Now, San Antonio is still not live yet. I mean, very close to being open as a site, but that photo was taken with the entire team from UT Health, which included Dr. Cox and the entire investigation team from Houston, driving over to San Antonio. It's about a 2.5-hour drive.
Yeah.
And so we went to UT Health San Antonio to do the training for the clinical trial. And it was just such an incredible moment to see all of these great minds in a single room. I mean, sometimes you just want to pull your hair out because things take so long in a university setting. Part of the reason why we have a company is because we can't wait for anyone else to do anything. But it was just so incredible to see all of those people with their knowledge and expertise come to the table to come up with solutions. Yeah. It's just, it kind of gives you an insight to the ingenuity and the creative power, collective power of Americans. I can't really compare them to anyone else because, our ability to go to space and all these things that we do. I mean, It has to do with our creativity and our collaboration and all of that. So anyway, I just love that picture. So many smart people. I just look around and see all those smart people. Yeah.
And what they're working on to repair brain injuries that are old, to help people live better lives and get out of chairs or not have seizures or be able to hold their thought for a long time or stay at home by themselves or, oh my gosh, the stories that I've heard come out of the TBI-01 study and now knowing they're going to reproduce this and do it again. Oh, I can't wait. I love that they're starting to treat people here in Houston already.
Right.
Isn't that wonderful? Oh my goodness.
And some of the complexities in the TBI trial involve sophisticated imaging that involve like radioisotopes that go into your brain and have to live there like temporarily so that it doesn't kill you. So there are all of these things that have to happen. And so those kinds of technologies and the people who do the nuclear reactor stuff, like those are entirely different kinds of sets of people that have to come together.
Is that amazing?
And that's what's in that picture, all those people in a room discussing how to make all of that possible. But it's just amazing.
There are so many things that make this, wow.
Yeah.
The imaging that they need, the timing of all that. There's a small window of time whenever you give contrast like that, radioactive contrast. You have a little window to get that done. Delivery time, everything. It doesn't just sit on a shelf.
It's totally new. So it's got to be done like right then and there in the precise moment to be able to capture what you want. Yeah. So it's pretty amazing
these people
stuff.
are amazing. Yep.
So the next picture has to be one of my favorites because it just has to be.
Oh my goodness. I know. Stem cells for a kindergartner.
So that is me with a lot of stem cells. No, that's my mini me, Grace Chang. So we started this podcast. When did we start this?
The first one was February of 2024.
Oh, was it February?
Yeah.
Okay, so at
the first one was David and I. Yeah.
We started. I started this one, Stem Cell Revolution, and so that one was Grace was my first guest on this podcast. So that was a really fun, memorable moment. We'll put the link in the caption to that video.
She is so incredible, such an incredible kid.
The episode was geared towards kindergartners, but the real story behind that is people will always come in here and say, "Can you explain stem cells to me?" And just pretend like I'm in kindergarten.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, well, let's do this to a real kindergartner and film it, and anyone can understand it. Yeah. So.
And she got it.
She did.
She did. She got it.
Smart one.
Oh, she's such a smart girl.
So.
That face.
There are a million things going on here. So it's really hard to pick these most amazing moments. And I can't even think right now if they truly are. It's just what was happened to be my phone. But I remember specifically this photo, taking this photo and grabbing my phone and saying, I have to take a picture of this because this will be one of the most important moments in our history. And Sherry Diers, you're in it. Do you remember this? You can't talk about it because we're not allowed to give any details yet. You can't give any details.
Yes, I do.
But this picture is, I think, going to be one of the most, historically significant moments because it was an aha moment for like a major innovation happening right then and there. And so two people in that picture are Sherry and Hosu. Hosu's our director of, she's our manager for manufacturing.
So smart.
And production.
Oh my gosh.
So production of stem cells. And so a lot of times you think that when we're inventing something new or when we're making progress or some major innovations in process, that these things are like highly thought out and, people with certain expertise have to be involved or you have to hire a bunch of really smart consultants or something. But, this was sort of like, if we didn't have you and Hosu in that moment, this moment would never happen. And it could probably take forever for us to figure something like this out. But mark my words that this will be a very important discovery, and one day we'll share it with the world. But, sometimes, and this is just how simple it looks, like two people meeting up in the hallway. This is actually right in front of my office.
Yeah.
Hosu saying, I think we're stuck. Like, I don't think we can move on from here. And then Sherry popping up out of nowhere. I think you came to get a snack.
I'm sure it wasn't a snack. Okay. I'm sure it was something much more important than that. It was.
And Sherry saying, well, gee, I know what to do. Amazing.
I love that you said that and think that. Thank you.
And so, although I can't give details, this was for a very important project for our national defense. And I think that the implications to this major advancement will help in practically any military use and practically any emergency situation. Yeah.
And isn't that something that the small, tiny little thing that came from a nurse instead of could help? Wow.
Not just any nurse, Sherry Diers.
An old nurse. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I remember. Isn't that something? I'm so excited about what this can mean. I know, I wish we could talk about it more. I just, in my mind, as this has played out, I can imagine so many things that will be possible just because of the work being done right now.
It's like taking the impossible into the realm of possible. Yeah. I think that is what makes it such an exciting prospect, right? Yeah.
Everything could change.
So, the biggest accomplishment we made this year.
Oh my goodness.
Is probably the event of the century.
Oh my gosh. Was it not wonderful? It was amazing.
For the record, it nearly killed me.
God bless you. You went through a lot. I know. You did.
And and not for any other reason than the fact that we're not like party planners, and we are really good at what we do, which means that we're very good at making stem cells and being lab rats. But when it comes to putting ourselves out there and throwing a giant party and inviting 400 strangers and trying to explain what we do, that really put the pressure on. And I think it was quite a year. Oh my gosh. Well, and also I'm by nature a procrastinator. So, and it's actually, I credit myself to having the best thoughts last minute.
You work well under pressure?
Which is why I work so well under pressure that I think I'm a great procrastinator. But I will tell you that event planning and procrastination do not go hand in hand. And they are very counteractive. And so you should not do that. You should not do that. And yes. And so...
But yet somehow you did it all.
So we'd organized a gala for the first fundraising gala for our foundation.
Yeah.
And we really wanted to do a great job. The good thing is because it was our first one, sort of everyone had this expectation that, oh, it's their first one.
Yeah.
So it's definitely going to be horrible, or it's going to be wildly boring, or they're not going to be able to raise a dime. And so because the pressure was a little off, I think that made it a little better. But still, we wanted to do our best, and it turned out to be such an incredible evening, and probably a night that I will remember for the rest of my life. It was
Me too.
Simply.
Me too. I'll never forget this.
The room being transformed. I didn't send you all the pictures that I have. I'm gonna, Taylor's gonna show all of them, but just walking into that ballroom, I remember that we met at like 8:00 that morning. Some of us got there really early, and then I remember trickling in and just seeing like, what is this room gonna look like at the end, and just seeing all the preparation, everything going in. Morgan.
She was amazing.
She was amazing. She was she was the planner. I did offload the planning to Morgan because she could really do a bang up job when it came to creating the moment, the atmosphere. So she did an amazing job transforming that room. Taylor and I got to go early and Dan, and we were kind of working at the kinks with all of the AV. It was a highly choreographed show. We had to write every part of it, and every video that Taylor made, everything had to go, like one sequential, one thing after another. So it all had to be aligned pretty perfectly. No one really knows that all this happens like 2 hours before the event. Like it's like completely, you would think that we would have months to prepare, but you meet your team that morning, and it's like, this is how it has to go down. So it was pretty amazing.
It was so beautiful.
I took a great shot of Kathy Jackson. Kathy was our first patient in lupus.
Yes.
And we wrote up her case report actually because her recovery or her remission from lupus was so extraordinary. Yeah. So after getting like 9 rounds of cells, she really...
It changed her life.
Completely changed her life.
It changed her life, yeah.
I remember after that, she was saying, we have to get the news out. We have to do a gala. I'm like, a what?
A gala? Yep.
But so it was Kathy Jackson's initial idea to do this, and she really pushed us to letting her do this. And so she's obviously in good enough health to not only be a part, but take on some major responsibilities. And she was actually the auction chair this year. And so she handled all of the, organizing everything, getting all of the, setting everything out, getting everything ready for auction. So she did a bang up job. And she did also that wine wall.
Oh, was that amazing?
Where she collected all these wines, and then you draw a number and draw a cork and pick a wine, and so she did all of that. So that was Kathy. So one of the items that we were able to donate was a painting. A painting from, it was actually a giclée print, a very large painting from John Cullison. Oh. And John Cullison was a patient that I met back in Japan when, I started in this whole field of cell therapy. And he had terrible rheumatoid arthritis, and he didn't have the ability to paint anymore because his hands were so, his joint pain was so extreme. And he, after getting a few rounds of stem cells, he regained his ability to paint and resume his art. And actually, we have some of it here at Hope. But he would, as a thank you, he would send prints to me all the time. Oh. And so one of them was this massive giclée that I finally was able to get framed. And so we put that up for auction.
Is that the one that had the water singing in it? Yeah. Oh, my word. Yeah. Is that amazing?
It's just amazing. When you look at the detail and what it required for him to physically be able to draw that or to paint that, it really is incredible. Yeah. Anyway, it did not sell. It did not sell, so it is in the hallway.
My blessing.
So if you come to Hope Bio, to our foundation, it is hanging in the halls of our foundation.
So beautiful.
And it's probably in the place it needs to be. So that's
it's such a wonderful gift. Yeah. Yeah. I wondered how we wound up being able to hang it up. So I was so tickled when I walked past it, like, oh my gosh, somebody gave it back to us. So beautiful. I love it.
So John Cullison ended up passing away, I think 2014-ish or something like that. He would have been so proud of where we are now. And I just know he just would have been, his rheumatoid arthritis and his recovery and me being able to witness that is one of the reasons why we have been able to do this at Hope, because we've seen it, we know it, and can it be reproduced, and can it be done for every patient that comes in with that same condition? That's the challenge that we face. And so our clinical trial for RA was that first trial that we did, that we published, is a incredible body of evidence to what we saw happen to John. And so it just brought it full circle. If you kind of think about just seeing that painting alive in that auction hall, it just, anyway,
and he
brought
was
the whole thing together.
An inspiration behind that. Mm-hmm. Isn't that beautiful? Now, I will never walk past that painting without thinking about that. Because it was so exciting. That's when you first brought me here for the RA study.
Oh, was it for the RA study?
Yeah. It was, after we had done our first compassionate use.
Okay.
And you had gotten the RA study approved, and it was ready, and it was just about to start.
Oh, we hadn't started it yet.
No. I actually was able to be involved in the pre-enrollment and enrollment and getting to do all of that. Oh, my goodness. And it all came back from someone you met in Japan with RA.
And he's from Florida. Like, we never met him before, just out of nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was an artist.
Amazing,
And to get that gift back.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So great.
I love that.
So I had the kiddos helping out too, setting up at the gala, and they were helping Julie. Julie is the heartbeat of Hope Bio.
Wonder Woman. Yeah.
A Wonder Woman. We call her Wonder Woman. She does just about everything around here.
Everything.
She wrapped every single wine bottle that day.
Is it not so?
I don't even know how many wine bottles there were, but she wrapped every single
Hundreds.
one of them. And she wrapped all the wines for all of our volunteers. She was wrapping from, I think, 8 o'clock in the morning till the day, to the moment she had to wear her dress, her gown.
And what they looked like.
Yeah, they were all perfect.
They were beautiful.
They were perfect.
I was like, how did you even think about doing that?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. And just for the record, she has a YouTube channel for rapping.
She does.
I got to think about what that's called. So you can look it up. Give it a plug here. It is amazing.
Julie's gift wrapping studio.
Julie's gift wrapping studio. Look it up on Instagram, YouTube. It's a YouTube channel. I stink at stuff like
She's
this.
Amazing.
I didn't have a social media anything until I came here.
And now you're famous. Sherry Diers, you're famous. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I had none of that. Yeah, Julie, it is so amazing. Her wrapping studio. Julie's gift wrapping studio.
That's right.
And I know a bunch of new things are about to drop.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, I can't wait to see.
She's working on them, getting ready. I can't wait. Well, those wine bottle wrappings were amazing. The colors she puts together, the way they looked in the bags, and the ones that were sitting individually. I said, oh, these are beautiful. Yeah.
And I think for her too, it's, she was, so there was me, Mr. Park, and then Julie. So she was number 3 that joined Hope Bio. And so I think for her, I can't really speak for her, but I think just if I were her, I would think just seeing where we started and where we were that day and what we were preparing for and sort of the anticipation for that evening, it was just a really special moment.
Yeah, she was, and she is so proud of the company and what we're doing. We talk about that a lot.
Yeah.
How everything is so moving forward and so whole and growing, and she was here at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Like right in the beginning. One of my favorite pictures, I wish I had that. Oh, you could have included it. It would have been not from this, but from the very beginning of this. And it's the picture of when y'all were doing all that work where she's sitting up on top, like straddling a dumpster.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one of my favorite pictures ever because it says to me everything. You know what went into making this company? A lot of hard work, and everything was not glamorous.
She would insist on climbing into that dumpster during construction because she didn't want to pay for another dumpster. You know, they have to always take dumpsters out.
Yes.
And so we didn't want to pay for another dumpster. So she would go in there and compact. She would jump on everything to compact everything as much as possible. So we'd only have to pay for one dumpster.
See that? She's the same way now. She's exactly
Nothing
like
has
that
changed.
now.
Nothing
That's
has
right.
changed. Yes.
She's making sure costs are kept down. And
so we keep costs in creative ways. Definitely not
whatever
in the
has
cells,
to be
but
done.
in
That's
every way
right.
else. Yeah.
Whatever has to be done. That picture is one of my favorites.
So because we got to plan the gala, we got to have first dibs into the space once it was all complete. They finished all the decorating. They opened the doors, allowed us to go in, and we did a quick dress rehearsal. And I remember walking into Faith Hartledge, John Hartledge, and they were warming up their voices. Faith was in our MS trial, and she flew all the way from New Jersey. And actually, I remember they had asked you to participate in the gala.
Anything they could do, yeah.
And in my mind, I was always thinking, well, we surely we have to hire people here, local talent or something. I'm never thinking that we're bring people in, but they just really wanted to be a part of this and give their time in talents. And
she and her husband flew here, stayed here,
and it was
sang.
I remember walking into that ballroom and just hearing them sing. There was no one there, right? So I took a video of the whole room and how the room just in its beauty took my breath away. But their singing, it was just, their voices were just, it was just such an amazing moment.
And, it seems like when during their production or during the gala, it's like they would sing to each other and they love each other so much and all that beauty comes out and there's the love of them and the love of God and they're giving back and the whole thing was wonderful. Yeah. I know. And they were very generous.
It was
I can't imagine ending the gala on another way.
And that's how we ended the gala. It was
beautiful.
the way to end it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But everybody was transfixed listening to him sing, and the whole room is just looking at him. And remember, we were sitting there with a little bit of silence, and you stood up and said, "Okay, we're done."
And I realized we never announced that it was over.
It's over, yeah.
And so, yeah.
I was when they were singing, I was looking and there were like people reaching over and grabbing their spouse's hand or whatever. It was just so beautiful. I said, "Oh, I love it." Yeah, it was perfect.
Someone told me was it you who told me that Lynette was sitting with you?
Yes. Oh, wasn't that so beautiful?
And that they never seen someone was crying from the beginning all the way to the end, was it?
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. Lynette, because she worked here, and she has such a love for the work being done. And oh my goodness, I wish I could get her back just PRN, come in every once in a while. But she is so busy with her grandbabies and traveling. I think they go everywhere.
They do.
But when they came to that gala and they sat there, them looking at each other, and then they're holding hands and just tears. It was so beautiful.
Oh.
Yeah.
Lynette Rakoff was a retired pharmacist that I met in a 6 a.m. Pilates class.
Is that the craziest thing?
And she and I were just talking one day after class, super early in the morning, just talking about what we do here. And she was interested enough to come and visit. And, I think what makes this place so special is that many of us come from different backgrounds, not clinical research per se. And I think those different perspectives and what we bring to the table when we look at the field of clinical research is the reason why we're able to do things a little differently.
I think you're right.
And Lynette, also, pharmacist, and clearly very intelligent.
Very smart.
And I don't know, counting pills or whatever it is that they do.
Figuring out drug reactions and how things work together.
Yes.
And
I'm joking, yes.
Yeah.
But she brought a different kind of knowledge base,
Right.
and especially understanding drugs and understanding how they interact in the body and all of the side effects of. And I think she wanted to be part of a different kind of solution.
Yeah.
Like, what are the next generation of drugs going to be like? And it was her interest in the area that ended up bringing her here. And so she came out of retirement. She worked with us for how long?
3 years anyway.
And then when Mark retired, her husband retired, finally, that's when she officially had to retire so they could travel and do all that. But she was integral in setting up a lot of those initial protocols for Leo, for Ingie. And so figuring out...
Even before I met her, she was working on that stuff.
Figuring out how to file these things, figuring out what kind of data to be collecting and all that. She was really an innovator in her own way. Yeah. And so for her to see all of that come to life, one of the last applications that Lynette wrote before she left was Neil's protocol, which was the 11-year-old with epilepsy.
Yeah.
Was he 11 at the time?
Something like that, 11, 12, 13, something, I can't remember. Young, very young.
And so she wrote that, and I don't think we had received FDA approval yet. So for her to attend the gala and see that, well, we got the approval, we treated him, and here's where he is a year from now. And his parents are on stage telling everybody where he is now was an incredible moment. And I think it must be so rewarding for her.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
And her seeing him improve, knowing what the side effects and what are from the other drugs that are available to him and the things that he's tried and gone through, because she'd gone through his record. And she had the most intimate knowledge of that stuff because she's so filled with knowledge about drugs and whatnot and seeing him how they work. And then to see him do better without those side effects and oh my gosh. Yeah. She's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's a smart cookie.
So.
Yeah. And she loves Hope. She looked so good too, didn't she? Tall
like a
and
model.
willowy. Yes, she was like, oh my gosh, so beautiful.
So when you and David came up, I think that was one of my last pictures when you and David came up onto stage, and I just loved that moment. And so to your hopeful news music. Why don't I have music? Why don't Taylor hook me up with music?
We need music.
But you have a theme song.
I know,
and you
right?
guys walked out to that. Anyway, it was just it was just such a, magical evening.
I loved when I saw him, standing across before we came out. Then we come out to the middle and say, I am so crazy about him. I've known him for so long. We've worked together so long. And it was like, look at what is before us. We're there just to look out at everything that's happened since we've been there. He came right after me. He was a year after me. And then here he is. We've been here to see all this change and move and grow, and the most generous people in the world at our event. And remember, there were a bunch of events going on that night, and yet all these wonderful people came to ours.
I just read an article. It was in Paper City magazine where they highlighted the, I think, 13 galas that raised over $1 million this year in Houston.
Did they do ours?
And we were the grand finale. It was actually at the end of the article, she wrote, and the most, I guess the most amazing was Hope Bio's achievement because the foundation hosted its first gala. Again, 0 expectations.
Yeah. And
so,
in the top. Isn't that wonderful? Yeah. People who find out, who know about this, who have the means are so generous.
And so all of those supporters
Yep.
are, what you're doing is making the technology just one step closer to everyone. And, you know, I think what was so amazing about that night was you could feel the impact it has on your life because you know a loved one, somebody that could benefit from this. And at the end of the day, we all will benefit from this in one way or another. So it's very, very exciting.
It's very exciting.
So the next day after the gala, the very next day, I was on a plane because I had to go to Korea.
Yeah.
I had to go to Korea, and so I have a picture of that. And
is that what that next picture is?
Yeah, the last one for this year was going to Korea and presenting our top line results for multiple sclerosis.
Yes, I see it on the screen. I had no idea what that was.
So we had a press release that we put out exactly at about that time when we were going to release the results, and it was just I got up on stage, and most of the people in the audience are Korean, right? It's an international conference, so everything was spoken in English pretty much, but the audience was largely, if you look at them, they all looked Korean. And so I'm used to presenting in the U.S., so more diverse faces, and you also have like sort of that back and forth, like you can tell when the audience is sort of jiving with you. But in this case, it just, I felt a little distant, and so when I got up on stage, you know, the first thing I said was, it was just really in that moment, I felt. It was a special moment because I'm back in the country where I was born, right? Out of all places, it's the first time I think being in a foreign country where I'm presenting. I've been to a lot of foreign countries, but first time being in a foreign country presenting what Hope Bio is doing. And so to be in my birth country, back where I was, I left Korea. I was born there in 1980 and left in 1981. So I was left when I was a year old. And so to be back there now as a much older person and bringing back news of some amazing work being done by, by Hope was a really profoundly impactful moment.
A daughter
for me.
came home and brought good news. I love that.
Yeah. So that was
very
it.
beautiful.
Those are my highlights.
That was
for
a
the
flying trip for you, though.
I remember thinking, like the week leading up to the gala, no one slept. I don't think Cindy slept. I don't think any of us slept. We didn't sleep for like 3 weeks. I know Taylor slept because he finally got all of his videos done.
God bless him.
I remember he was like, "You don't think I'm going to get them all done?" I was like, "No, you will get them all done. It'll be me that's the problem." So yes, Taylor, for the record, got everything done in record time, and everything was perfect and beautiful. All those videos are available on our foundation's YouTube channel, so please check that out.
They are so meaningful to me when I watch them.
Such beautifully narrated
Yes.
videos. Yeah.
They tell such a story.
Yeah.
I'm just,
Amazing stories. So Taylor made all of those assets in record time, and then I, like 3 weeks before, am just operating in panic mode. Like everything's panic, and I just thought, I will be so relieved when I'm on that plane. Like I just need to get on that plane, and that'll mean that the gala is over and we've survived and everything is fine. And yeah,
and it was a beautiful success.
I just remember being on the plane and just feeling a heart full of gratitude. First, amazement. It was kind of hard to believe what happened the night before.
Yeah.
But also just being so grateful for all of the team members here at Hope Bio, all of the patients and their families that have dedicated so much time into coming here, participating in our trials, trusting us with their bodies, their health, and letting us be part of that journey, and all of the faces, and just so grateful. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
So I end 2024 with peace and excitement for what's to come.
Love and gratitude.
Yep.
Thanksgiving and expectation.
That's right.
Yep.
So 2025 is going to be epic.
Epic.
And we will see you, our few listeners that are here. we will see you in 2025, and we will get right back to the legality of stem cells, all the regulatory stuff, and we'll get right on that topic. But thanks for tuning in today. Hope it wasn't boring.
Ho, ho, hope.
Ho, ho, ho. Have a Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.